chapter 4, verse 1. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith Yahweh of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. Okay, so this speaks very clearly of the time when Christ will come at the second coming. And after lifting up the righteous, after this, the Lord will burn the earth and burn the wicked, or cause it to be burned one way or another. So again, for behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven. That's pretty hot. And all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly, shall be stubble. That's what the wicked will be on earth when the second coming comes. They will be ashes. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. And what is the root nor branch of the wicked? The root is their offspring, their ancestry, and their branch is their children. They won't have both their ancestry and their children will be destroyed. The wicked. But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings. So those who love Christ, the Son of Righteousness is going to rise with healing in his wings, and ye shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stall. Now what does that mean? You shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stall. Those who are in the millennium will be born again as babies, and they will grow up as calves of the stall. That is, they're not just going to be left to run around wild. They're going to be taught how to be in the millennium. And Christ is going to be there to teach us all for 1,000 years. And ye shall tread down the wicked, for they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet in the day that I shall do this, saith Yahweh of hosts. So, in the millennium, I guess there's going to be ashes around that will be walked upon. And these will be what's left of the wicked after they are burnt. Remember ye the law of Moses, my servant, which I commanded unto him in Horeb for all Israel, with the statutes and judgments. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of Yahweh. Before the coming of the great and dreadful day of Yahweh. When is that? That's before the second coming, before the day of burning. So behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of Yahweh. And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. All right, so before the burning, God is going to send Elijah. And he's going to turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. What's going to happen? If he doesn't do this, if Elijah doesn't come, if he doesn't, and the hearts of the fathers are turned to the children, what would happen? The whole earth would be smitten with a curse. It'd be utterly wasted. All right, now I want to read you the account of this same prophecy as it was given to me by the Spirit when I was doing the revelation. And I would remind you that I spent 6 years in the Spirit with God in the writing of this revelation. Behold, the day cometh that shall burn as a hot, glowing furnace. And all the aliens. Who are the aliens? Those who don't belong. And all the arrogant or prideful, and every evil doer shall be as stubble. So let's see. Can it burn as a hot glowing furnace, and all the aliens, all the arrogant or prideful, and every evil doer shall be as stubble. They'll be ashes. When you burn the grass, what's left? Stubble. For the day which is coming shall set them ablaze. Wherefore I shall destroy both the wicked and their children. So the wicked are going to be destroyed, and their children, so that there shall not be left of them neither root nor branch. For the seed of the wicked shall not pollute the heritage of the righteous. So says Yahweh of hosts. But unto you that reverence my name shall the saving sun arise with newness of life in its rays, and ye shall grow up and be cared for like calves of the stall. So this is, in essence, saying we're going to be born again into the millennium. And ye shall go forth and trample upon the wicked, for they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet in the day that I shall do this, saith Yahweh of hosts. Remember ye the first law which I revealed unto Moses my servant, those ordinances and commandments that were written upon the tablets which he breaketh, and which I bade him deliver to all Israel in Horeb. So if you remember, he went up on the mountain, and he was gone for, 40 days? I forget the exact number. And when he came down, he had these tablets that were written by the finger of God, and he came down with these to give to Israel, and he found them in a sexual orgy in the process of worshiping their mother goddess and their father god. They were having open sex. Well, God has lots of children, and our Divine Mother does. And they were worshiping them as an orgy. And this was common to all the cultures around them at that time. Behold, so now, remember ye the first law which I revealed unto Moses my servant, those ordinances and commandments that were written upon the tablets which he breaketh, and which I bade him deliver to all Israel in Horeb. Behold, I declare unto thee, before the coming of the great and terrible day of Yahweh, I will send you Elijah the prophet, and by his hand shall I restore again that which was lost unto you, or that which in Moses I have taken away, even the fullness of the priesthood, and the everlasting covenant thereof. Wherefore Elijah shall reveal unto thee my holy order, together with the law and the covenants and the ordinances and priesthood thereof, according as they were given unto Moses at the first. And ye shall become an holy family, and a nation of kings and priests, and an royal priesthood unto me. And if you read in Exodus chapter 19, I think it is, this whole idea is put forth. And it's quoted again in the book of Peter in the New Testament, and referred to as a royal priesthood, which is a patriarchal priesthood. I will show unto thee, O house of Israel, that the Gentiles shall not have power over you. For I will remember my covenant unto you, and ye shall come unto the knowledge of the fullness of my gospel. Yea, even the gospel which was had in the dispensation of Abraham thy father, and of Sarah thy mother. For my servant Elijah shall plant in the hearts of the children the promises which were made to the patriarchs and fathers of Israel. So in the King James Version, as we have it, he's going to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children and the hearts of the children to the fathers. Well, what fathers? Starting with the Abrahamic covenant. For my servant Elijah shall plant in the hearts of the children the promises which were made to the patriarchs and fathers of Israel. Who are these patriarchs and fathers of Israel? They are Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and Joseph, and Ephraim. Okay, so certain promises were made to them. And Elijah is going to plant those promises in our hearts. The promises that God made to Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Joseph, and Ephraim. For my servant Elijah, yea, even the gospel which was had in the distant. I'm going to start over. And I will show unto thee, O house of Israel, that the Gentiles shall not have power over you. Okay, well, what does that mean? When the gospel was restored in the dispensation of the fullness of times, it was first given to the Gentiles. And it was prophetically foretold that in the day that the Gentiles turned away from the gospel, the fullness of the gospel of the Father, that in that generation, the gospel would be taken from them and given to Israel. In that time, before it was taken from them, the Gentiles, or the Gentile church, had the priesthood. And if you wanted the blessings of God through the priesthood, you had to become a part of the Gentile church. But after they turn away, then the times of the Gentiles will end, and the times of Israel come in, as it is foretold in 3 Nephi, chapter 16, verses 10 through 15, in Doctrine and Covenants, section 45, verses 17 through, if you want to read the whole rest of the section, through 30, 31, and then there's more. I will show unto thee, O house of Israel, that the, let's see, so, I'm sorry. And I will show unto thee, O house of Israel, that the Gentiles shall not have power over you. They're not going to have the controlling power of the priesthood anymore. The priesthood is going to be given to the house of Israel. This is prophesied in the Doctrine and Covenants in section 113. And it is prophesied in 3 Nephi, chapter 16, verses 10 through 15, and section 45, verses 17 through 31, and many, many other places. So I will show unto thee, O house of Israel, that the Gentiles shall not have power over you. They're not going to have the priesthood over Israel anymore. For I will remember my covenant unto you, and ye shall come unto the knowledge of the fullness of my gospel. Yea, even the gospel which was had in the dispensation of Abraham thy father, and of Sarah thy mother. Now what happened in section 110 of the Doctrine and Covenants? When Moses, Elias, from Jesus Christ, Moses, Elias, and Elijah appeared to the prophet Joseph Smith and Oliver Cowdery, when Elias appeared, and Elias was Noah, he restored the gospel of the dispensation of Abraham. Well, what is that? That's what we're talking about. The original covenant that God made with Abraham and Sarah and Isaac and Jacob and Joseph and Ephraim. Okay? So, and I will show unto thee, O house of Israel, that the Gentiles shall not have power over you, for I will remember my covenant unto you, and ye shall come into the knowledge of the fullness of my gospel, yea, even the gospel which was had in the dispensation of Abraham thy father, and of Sarah thy mother. And this goes back to section 110 in the Doctrine and Covenants, verse 12. When Elias, or Noah, appeared to Joseph and Oliver and restored the gospel of the dispensation of Abraham. Well, what was that? Well, it was the Abrahamic covenant that God the Father made with Abraham and Sarah about eternal family and about the eternal family of Abraham and Sarah. All right, the whole Old Testament following this and all of the New Testament is all about this sacred covenant God made with Abraham, the Abrahamic covenant. The whole Old Testament is about the family of Israel. The prophecies about the family of Israel, that it would be gathered in the latter days, and that it would receive these Abrahamic promises. Once again, and I will show unto the O house of Israel that the Gentiles shall not have power over you, for I will remember my covenant unto you, and ye shall come unto the knowledge of the fullness of my gospel, yea, even the gospel which was had in the dispensation of Abraham thy fathers, and of Sarah thy mother. Now, is this different than the law of Moses? It surely is. The children of Israel sinned, and they lost these higher things and were cursed with a carnal law. For my servant Elijah shall plant in the hearts of the children the promises which were made to the patriarchs and fathers of Israel, yea, even Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Wherefore the law of my priesthood shall be put in their inward parts, yea, even the law of the fullness of the priesthood of the Father. And what is this? Wherefore the law of my priesthood shall be put in their inward parts. That's in their heart. Rather than being written upon tables of stone, it's going to be put in our hearts. And this is all quotations from the Bible, okay? From the Old Testament and New Testament. Yea, even though, wherefore the law of my holy priesthood shall be put in their inward parts, wherefore, yea, even the law of the fullness of the priesthood of the Father, yea, I shall put the law of my priesthood in their minds, and in their hearts I will write them. And, this is why is Elijah going to come back, lest the whole earth be smitten with a curse? To do this. To put this law in our hearts and minds. To put the Abrahamic covenant. The whole covenant of eternal family and what we must become if we are ever to inherit the blessings of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and be a part of their eternal family that God promised them. It's not enough just to be born in the blood of Israel. We have to become and live accordingly, or we will be cast out on the judgment day. And for this cause, shall put the law of my priesthood into their minds, and in their hearts I shall write them. And for this cause the hearts of the children of my people shall turn unto their fathers, or unto their parents, and the hearts of the parents shall turn unto their children. For I am the God of the living, and not the God of the dead. Is Abraham alive? Yes, he is. Are your parents alive? Your ancestors? Yes, they are. And the heavens and the earth, and the hearts of the parents shall turn unto their children, for I am the God of the living and not the God of the dead. Wherefore both the parents and the children are and shall be eternally alive in me. For he that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. Wherefore the hearts of the children shall be turned unto their parents, and the hearts of the parents shall be turned unto their children. And they shall be of one mind and one heart. What does that mean? They shall be of one mind and one heart. Well, Christ says, "Be ye one. If ye are not one, ye are not mine," saith the Lord. Perfect. There has to be a union, a structured familial union, as it was started with Abraham and Sarah. One that is predicated upon the law of the fullness of the priesthood, which Elijah restored to Joseph Smith. And they shall be of one mind and one heart, and they shall join together as one. even one eternal family in me. For they shall be my sons and my daughters, even my firstborn sons and daughters. Therefore shall they be mine heirs, for they are mine elect and my righteous seed. Wherefore they shall be those of my children that shall inherit the earth. They're the ones that are going to inherit the earth. Others are not. And for this cause shall I forestall that great and terrible day of destruction. For if it were not so, the whole earth would be utterly wasted at my coming. So the second coming is going to be postponed for the fulfillment of this prophecy. Otherwise, the whole earth will be wasted. And what is this union? I was given a vision in 1983 about this union. And in this union, it's like ancestral worship for those in the new and everlasting covenant, for those who are born into it or those who are adopted into it. Our forefathers are connected with God by covenant and by sealing. To honor your parents, your worthy parents in righteousness, is to honor God. To dishonor your worthy parents is to dishonor God. In other words, there's this structure, a family, a familial structure. Are we going to have policemen in the celestial kingdom? No. What kind of government is there going to be? A government of fathers and mothers, and grandfathers and grandmothers and great-grandfathers and great-grandmothers and great-great-grandfathers and great-great-grandmothers, going all the way back to Adam and Eve. And this whole family is going to be in perfect harmony and union. No division. Let me ask you a question. What is the difference between heaven and hell? Why doesn't God allow the wicked to go to heaven? Who does he allow in heaven? Those who love him and keep his commandments. Those who learn to live together in a celestial family as one, in unison. Now, there are three different glories in the celestial kingdom. But if you want to enter into the third, which is an eternal family, parents and fathers and mothers and so on, then you have to live in celestial harmony as a family. You have to understand what Elijah revealed and what it means. And God revealed this to me. And now let me ask you, if God allowed the wicked to go into heaven, what would heaven be? It would be hell. Why isn't heaven here on earth? Well, among the righteous, a form of it is, but if God were to allow the wicked to go into heaven, there would be no harmony. There would be no love. Well, there'd be fighting, division. And that's not what happens in the celestial family. And if you want to be a part of it, you have to learn to live together as a family in righteousness, in union, in a perfect law of theocracy, as the prophet Joseph Smith described it, which is the law of the fullness of the priesthood. You can read that in the teachings of Joseph Smith on page 322 and 321. We have to learn these things before we can live them. And not only just a cold intellectual understanding of it, we must have something in our hearts. This love for our parents must be there. in a whole family union that goes all the way up to Adam and Eve. And if we cannot learn to live in this harmony, then we will not be a part of it in the celestial kingdom. We will be going somewhere else. Heaven cannot exist without harmony and union. Those who will not fit into the celestial harmony and union will not be there. That's what hell is for. They will be sent somewhere else, into another place. They will not go to the celestial kingdom in heaven because they could not, would not live in righteousness and in harmony with others and with their parents in the third degree of glory in the celestial kingdom, with their parents, with their children. And what's Jesus' parable about? The parable of the talents. He gave to one 2 talents, and another 5, and to another 1. And the one who had 2 doubled them, and the one who had 5 doubled them, and ended up with 10. And then the one that had only 1 talent took that talent and buried it in the ground. And what happened to him? Well, he didn't magnify the talents that God gave him. And our children are our talents. Not to say that that doesn't include our wives and others. And for wives, their husbands. Okay, so we have to learn to live in this harmony. If we cannot live in that harmony, we will not be worthy to go to the celestial kingdom, and the whole earth will be utterly wasted at his coming. Well, there will be those who learn to live in that union and harmony. That is what the law is that Elijah revealed to the prophet Joseph Smith. Not simply the sealing power to seal families, but the law upon which all sealings were to be predicated. That is, celestial union as a family. Not simply by being sealed into eternal marriage or sealed as eternal sons and daughters to your parents, but you have to live in this union before you can be worthy of that blessing. So you can be sealed into the family, and if you cannot bring yourself to live in that love and union, you won't be a part of it after you die. Now is the time to prepare to meet God. You have to have love to have this kind of union. Perfect Christ-like love. And I've talked about that elsewhere. You have to have this love for your parents and for others. And you cannot have this union without it. It's in perfect righteousness, in perfect godliness, Christ-like love. In that, you can create this family union. It is not simply to have it written in a book that you're married by the priesthood or sealed for time and eternity. You have to live the law upon which that blessing is predicated, and if you don't live that law, you will not inherit the blessing. And you can read about that, consequences of it, in section 88 of the Doctrine and Covenants and section 132. May we learn to love one another and respect each other as a family, and to teach this doctrine to others. And this is the calling God has given us, to teach this doctrine. And the world, for them to receive it. But we have to give of ourselves as servants of Christ to bring this message to the world, and it will yet happen as a nation born in a day. And this will be before the burning. And I say this in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.